Hey, hey.
Hey, Ricci. Happy Thursday and another episode.
Yeah, so we need to warn people now that you're having some hurricane force winds up in Tennessee because you're lagging a little bit. So we'll just blame it on that.
I don't understand what the deal is. I have no idea. I keep trying different things. Who knows? Well, today we're talking about struggles anyway, so it's going to fit right in. My internet struggles, everything.
Exactly.
I know. I do want to tell people when you come on, definitely tell us, hey, let us know if you're watching live or the replay, but join in on the chat. We do check it as we go along. So if you have questions or anything for our guests, definitely let us know. If we can get it in there, then we will. But we are super excited that you're tuning in on another happy Thursday for all of our busy mamas.
Yeah, and maybe it's a struggle because we're about 1 hour ahead this time around. Could be.
So that really was a struggle for me this morning. Kind of threw me off.
Threw me off too.
I know.
It's my fault.
Goodness, I know. You got to go get your hair done. Speaking of hair, hang on.
Oh, yes?
Yes. So, and struggles. But, you know, like straightening your hair can be such a pain. Well, I shouldn't say a pain, just time consuming.
Well, especially yours. It's really long.
Look what I found. Can you see it? It's like a Hot Tools.
Yeah.
So basically, there's settings on it. You plug it in and there's settings like low, high, everything. And you can just like kind of curl it as you go. So I did mine damp this morning and it went ahead and blow dried it, but also kind of gave it a little bit of body.
So it dries at the same time.
Yes, it dries and kind of gives it just that little bit of body because it's kind of the roller brush. So I just kind of turned it under as we went.
Yeah.
So all throughout the show, I may just be doing my hair. It's like, I know. But I'm telling you, I got it on Amazon. It wasn't much at all. I don't remember how much it was, but I love it. I'm actually using it. And it's able to kind of blow dry and straighten at the same time. So it's not two appliances, you know, like having to blow dry it all the way, then straighten or curl.
You definitely need to give that one a try because I go to bed with a wet head. So I wake up a little damp. So that might work for me.
Oh, yeah. So you can still do it because it's just Hot Tools.
Cool. Okay. I'm going to check that one out, Robbie.
Hot Tools Professional.
Okay.
And I feel professional. Like I almost feel like I got a blowout.
You do kind of look like it. You got a lot of volume with that.
See, I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Well, I'm not even going to speak about this because it'll be better. I don't know.
You get it today.
Yeah, well, you know, the kids all have, we haven't started our distance learning, so we're getting ready to start all that up. So we've got to go pick up schedules today. We've got to pick up map books today. So we have tons of stuff going on. And wouldn't you know, they threw all of that in right at 11. So when we're during our normal showtime. So we did talk to Tracey today, who is going to come on, and she was able to come on 1 hour early with us. So I'm so excited.
I am too. And hey to everybody getting on. I see Mandy out there. So hey to everybody.
Hey.
And I'm super excited about our guest. I want to go ahead and get into it because I have a feeling it could be a long episode because she has an amazing story to tell. Because like we've already talked about this morning, we've already had a few struggles here and there.
Yep.
And we all struggle regardless. It's life, right? We all know that. It's just part of life. We're going to have to struggle. But some people definitely do it better than others.
Yep.
And when you meet Tracey, you're about to hear the term, the struggle is real, come to life. She has been through it, but she's lived through it. And y'all, she's written this book. It's called Up Struggle. Hang on, let me show you a little.
Wait to get my hands on it too.
So it's available now. I know you can get it like on Amazon. You could probably get it other places as well. We can even ask Tracey, but I'm so excited. It's called Up Struggle, and I'm going to bring Tracey in now. Hey, Tracey.
Hi.
Hi. So, Tracey, you are in Houston, and we just really thought, adding to our struggles, that you may be out of power and everything else, but it's kind of missed you a little bit.
It did.
So,
yep.
Are you seeing anything on your end?
Nope.
Now I feel like we're on the, Today's show. How's it going over on your end, Tracey?
And then there's Robbie from Tennessee going in and out lagging. Like, what?
Well, we are so glad that you're here, and we can't wait to hear your story, Tracey. So tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what led you to where you are today.
Okay. I'm a mom. I have 4 kids. I am a wife from Houston, Texas. I'm an author. a writer for a website called Love What Matters. They're a pretty big website out there on social media. God, there's so many things. I got 5 pets.
You're not busy at all, Tracey. You're not busy at all. Like, what do you do with your day?
I sit right here at my desk. I also teach group fitness a couple times a week. So I'm all about, exercise and.
Of course you do, Tracey. Just add it all in there, girl.
So that's just kind of, just what I do. Yeah.
I love it.
All those pets, all those kids, you are the perfect example of a busy mama. So I'm so glad to get to talk to you today because we know that Robbie and I know your story, but we want you to share that story with us or with our audience and just kind of tell, what's been going on in your life other than all the children and the pets and the, what have nots.
What led you up to your Up Struggle book?
So do you guys want the story? Is that what you want?
Yes, give us the story.
All right, well, let's dive in.
Without giving away too many details because everybody still needs to go buy the book.
Yeah. Well, there's so much more in the book than what I can't possibly tell you everything. So I promise there's so much more. So the story that I kind of share, the story that has led me, right? We all have stories, but this is the one that has led me to where I'm at today. When I was 18, I was diagnosed with osteosarcoma, that is bone cancer. And when I was diagnosed, I also was married and I had a 10-month-old, but I was also pregnant. And so, cancer alone, right, is like a lot. But then you throw being pregnant on top of it, and it kind of just really complicated it, like tons more. And so my doctor advised me to terminate the pregnancy. And I'm not here to talk about women's rights or anything. And if that's what I felt was, in my heart, I would do, I probably would have. But in my heart, I felt like that just wasn't needed, right? That just for my situation, my case, that I did not need to do that. And so I was like, look, let me tell you what we're going to do. Okay. I am going to have a healthy baby and then we'll do chemo. And he's like, yeah, so no, that's not going to work. You have aggressive cancer and that could mean the difference of life and death for you.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, and so just all kinds of things start running through your head. And I'm young, you guys, having to, make the decisions. Yes, I'm listening to my mom's advice and people I trust, but ultimately it's my decision, right? It falls on my shoulders. And so I said, well, I know I'm not going to terminate. And so what are we going to do about it? There's got to be another option, right, out there. And so he was like, yeah, well, if you wait for your 3rd trimester to start chemo, your baby will probably survive, but we still can't give you any guarantees as to what complications she could have, what it might do to her, because this was in 2001. This is a long time ago. And my doctor had told me, and I was at MD Anderson, right? Everyone wants to be there. And my doctor is the world leading in this cancer. So he knows his stuff. But at this point, he told me, he said, we have no research of a woman who is pregnant, who does chemo, who delivered a healthy baby. And I got that, right? I'm like, I get it, but this is how it has to go, right? And so I was more than willing to, wait to the 3rd trimester. Thankfully, that was only 3 weeks away. It was only a 3-week wait. And so if I had to wait 3 more weeks just to start chemo, so it kind of gave both of us, like a fighting chance and stuff. So we decided, okay, that's the plan. That's the plan we came up with. That's the plan we're going to do. And I was scheduled to be admitted into MD Anderson on 9/11/01. And they called me and they said, you cannot come in. Like, we don't know what is going on. And I got it. I was even like, oh my goodness. And anyways, because of my own situation, I was admitted the very next day. But I mean, gosh, our country, right, we're preparing to go to war. We're under attack.
Yeah.
And yet I'm preparing to go to war and I'm under attack just in my own way, right?
Exactly.
So we do that. I get admitted. We are, first round of chemo. I'm 18, so you don't know a whole lot about cancer. And I just remember thinking, y'all, this is not a big deal. Why is everybody looking at me like I'm an injured puppy? Like, I got this, right? And do chemo, inpatient, because it needed to be there, go home. And it was like the first time I threw up. And my husband leaves. He's like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. I mean, it was hard. I can smile now, right? That was so many years ago. So just because I'm happy now and can smile doesn't negate that, you know what I mean, the pain that I went through at that period of my life. But I had to move on. Like I had to keep, going forward. I had to worry about my life, my unborn child's life, my other daughter's, making sure she has a mom to raise her. And so I kind of just continued on with everything. And, round after round, the thing people don't realize is, yeah, chemo is killing the cancer, but it's poison.
Yeah.
Right.
And it can kill you, and it can cause major complications. So after he leaves, I did some more chemo. I only did a couple rounds of chemo with my daughter, and they took her 6 weeks early because they wanted to take her as early as possible without having to do too much chemo, but without any complications from being a preemie.
Right.
And 6 weeks was right about the time they felt comfortable. So I think she only did like 3 rounds of chemo with me, but none of us knew what to expect. Like, we don't even know, there's no research, right? And so there I was, though, like, I was bald, y'all, like no hair, no eyebrows, just bald and pregnant. And I'm laying in bed, and I gave birth to a 3-pound, 10-ounce baby girl who was screaming at the top of her lungs. So we're like, well, her lungs are good. Those are developed, but she also had a head full of dark hair, like full of hair.
Oh.
And we were shocked because the doctors were like, we would think, right?
Yeah.
That, well, mom's doing chemo, mom is bald, daughter's going to be bald when she's born. Like, we just didn't know, but that's what we thought I would deliver a bald baby. But my doctor later went on to write an article just saying it just really goes to prove that the placenta knows what the baby needs and doesn't need, and how it filtered it. I mean, there's really no explanation. It had to have filtered, through and stuff. So she's in the NICU for a few weeks. She was fine. She was healthy. You just can't send the baby home at that, that small.
Yeah.
And so she just had to put some weight on. I think right around 5 pounds. She came home. And then a week later, after I had her, they're like, back to chemo. We don't got time. I'm like, so I just had a baby.
Oh my God.
And a week later, I'm back to chemo. I think I did one more round of chemo, and then I had my surgery. So my surgery was what they call limb salvage surgery. So that's trying to save the limb. Oftentimes with the kind of cancer that I had, a lot of people lose their limb. So I was fortunate enough to keep my limb. It was 13 plus hours. They had to bring in shifts, different doctors coming in, different nurses. It was the kind of surgery where I woke up in ICU, and I didn't, stuff. So that was a really hard recovery. I did stay in the hospital, a little bit of time for that, but again, got to move on and do chemo. I continued, and the thing was, as I continued to do the chemo, I started to really run into complications. And they really just kind of started to stack. I mean, I dealt with things like really bad mouth sores. Those are, in the mouth but down the throat from the chemo, which it was so painful to eat and drink that I just didn't want to. It was just, I would rather just not eat and drink because of the pain, which caused me to lose even more weight and then get dehydrated, which put me back in the Anderson. You know what I mean? So my life was in the Anderson.
And you had two babies, and your husband had just left, so you're gonna have to deal with the divorce. I mean, I just cannot imagine.
And she's 18, Robbie.
Exactly. I mean, wow. Our comments on the side right now, Tracey, you can't see them, but they're wow. Yeah.
It was a lot. I'm here smiling today, but it's because I worked through it, right? And I've learned so much, from it. Doesn't mean I would have wanted to go through it or, wish it upon anybody. But, so anyway, so, I'm just dealing with complication after complication after complication. One of the scariest moments during that whole time was I woke up one morning and I had no motor skills. So speaking, writing, like my motor skills were gone. I knew something was wrong with me. But I had that thought, oh crap, is this the new me? Is my mom going to have to take care of me the rest of my life? Is she going to have to raise my girls? I won't be able to be like, I mean, just the thoughts, like I was scared. That was probably the scariest moment during it all. Back at MD Anderson, you know, bring in a neurologist, and come to find out, I was pretty much just overdosed on chemo. My body needed just a little bit more of a break. They needed to give me a little bit more of a break before hitting me with the next round. And they gave me medication to reverse it. So within about 24 hours, I was back to my normal self at that point. So that was probably the scariest. But because I'm real and I'm honest, I don't know how to not be real or honest. One thing I like to share is I also became addicted to my pain meds. You know, from the leg surgery was so intense. I mean, I have a scar from my hip all the way down to my ankle on the outside of my leg. And then I have a scar, you know, a good 6-7 inches on the inside of my thigh. So they ripped me open. Like, they cut bone out. They put plates in. I got screws. I mean, they ripped me open and cut through all kinds of stuff. And so the pain from that, you know, but back then in 2001, they could do this. They gave me these big bottles. It's like, I don't know where to go. These big bottles of 100 pills of hydrocodone, because back then we don't have the issue, you know, that we have today. Now it's like you get 15 or like, what? But that's what I had at my, you know, at my hands was 100 pills, taking them when I wanted to. And yes, I started taking them for the pain. And I did have pain. I did have physical pain, but I quickly realized that those pills helped with the mental and emotional pain. That everything I was dealing with, I could just numb it with the pills. And so people are always like, well, what did you do? How did you get through it? I'm like, I used my pills. I drugged myself. Like, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm 18. I don't know how to deal with all this crap being thrown at me. I really don't, you know, but that helped. I did feel bad about it. And I did go to my oncologist and I said, hey, I'm addicted to my pills. I know it's not right. I know it's not okay. You know, what can we do? And he's like, girl, I don't care. I'm just trying to save your life. And I get it, right? Big picture. And he's like, we can deal with that later. But of course, me being me, I'm like, no, we need, like, what can we do? And so he did put me on a medication that was just less addicting, you know, and I got on that, and then I weaned myself off of that until I was just done. You know, so just all kinds of stuff that I had to deal with, you know, blood transfusion, platelets, you know, just everything. And I got to the point where I could feel my body shutting down. I knew the chemo was killing me. I could feel it in my heart. I could feel it in my bones. I mean, all these complications were just stacking. And in between, you know, because certain numbers have to be a certain, you know, at a certain level for them to hit you with chemo again, because chemo really can kill you. And my numbers just weren't recovering as quick. We were having to wait a lot longer in between sessions and stuff. But I just knew I'm dying. Like, chemo is killing me. And so I went to my doctor and I said, I'm done. I can no longer do chemo. I just know if I do one more round, I'm not coming back from it. And he just said, you know what? You're not completely crazy. I have, you know, treated you a little bit longer than most people. And he saw my numbers. He knew everything I was dealing with. And I only stopped about, you know, 2 to 3 rounds early. And I'm not an advocate for going against what your doctors advise, but I am a huge advocate for listening to your heart. You know, we know our bodies better than anybody. Doctors are great. They are there to save lives. But I know in my heart will, and you know what? And that's what I did with deciding to keep my daughter. It wasn't like I was looking it up on the internet or getting books to see what my chances were. It was just in the heart. What did my heart tell me, right? And with stopping chemo, it was what did my heart tell me? I'm done. You're done. You're fine. And it was a risk I was willing to take. But obviously, for me, I'm here today, right? It was the right choice for me. So, in a nutshell, that is my cancer story. That is the story that has, you know, launched me into everything that I'm doing now. That's what I share, and all other stuff.
Yes. I do have a question though. Being a mother yourself, and then your mother, you were 18, so I know you and I both have kids that same age, and Robbie does too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how your mom did it. What can you say for your mom?
She is Superwoman. We're not going to go there. I can't, not today, y'all. And my dog just pooped, and so I'm going to have to smell that the rest of the show. I'm not going to get up and clean it. And she's a puppy. We're potty training. You know, she's got a really strong personality. And so a lot of my strengths do come from her, and she's organized. So she had a planner, and it was really, she did get laid off, you know, or they fired her because she had to take care of me. She was missing too much work. So they let her go. Wow. My dad supported us financially. My mom took care of me. And then I had a sister who had come home, and she took care of our children. So it really was, you know, everyone just, teamwork. They all pitched in.
That's amazing. Amazing.
I did dedicate my book to my mom, though, for that.
Oh, yes.
Well, speaking of your book, though, the title is Up Struggle. So how did you come up with Up Struggle? I mean, we got the struggle part.
Yeah, we understand the struggle.
So that was actually not the name of my book initially. Initially, it was Forever Change. And you start doing some market research, and there was like 30 other books named that. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's not going to work. I don't want another, you know, book out there with the same title. And so I just kind of honestly started playing around with, okay, what's the theme of the book and all this stuff. And I am somebody who I make up my own words. I forget words. I could put two words together that make no sense. And between me and my husband, it's kind of like an ongoing joke, and he laughs and I laugh. And it's just funny, right? It's just part of who I am. And so I'm like, that just kind of carried over. Up struggle is not a word. You're not going to find it in the dictionary. But it just means to struggle better, right? Exactly. Learning to struggle better, because we all struggle. Some of us have just learned how to do it better. And that's kind of what I'm teaching in my book through teaching, through my stories, through my struggles. I am teaching people. I mean, I have a formula. This is not a book that's just like, hey, let me inspire you, then you can move on. No, I think it is inspiring and motivating, but I actually give tips and tools and a formula on what I use and how I have such a healthy perspective and how I can dance with struggles and be okay with it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's awesome. And I do want to say, you mentioned your husband. So you did get remarried.
Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but I will not watch a movie unless I know there's a happy ending. If I don't get my happy ending, I throw a fit and I tell my husband, how dare you? I can't believe you made me watch that movie, right? There is a happy ending. So a year after chemo, I met a man, and we started dating instantly. Like, we just instantly started dating. And 4 weeks after dating, he proposed to me. And I'm like so smitten, and I'm like, yes. But then after I said yes, a few days go by, I start kind of letting fear set in. Like, I make bad decisions. Look at my last marriage. This isn't going to work. Who would be so stupid? Like, who does this? You know, I just started like living there for a minute. But I quickly recognized there's a difference between being guided by your heart or your gut or your intuition and fear-based. And I realized that was fear-based. That was not my intuition trying to get me out of something, right? So I went back to him and I was like, hey, can I have my ring back? And he's like, yes. So I got my ring back, and just a couple months later, we were married, and we are going on 17 years. And he adopted my girls in 2008, and we've added 2 more boys to our family.
I love it, Tracey. I love it. And I love your whole demeanor and how I think the key is, and I've kind of even gathered this in your book that I've started. I did the Kindle edition, and is recognizing what kind of struggle you're dealing with. And I think that's what helped you, even with the pain, when you realized, hang on, I'm masking what I need to be dealing with. I think that helped you so much. Can you tell us kind of what those struggles are real quick, and kind of how people can relate to that?
Yeah, are you talking about the 3 universal struggles that I've?
Yes.
So just through, I know maybe struggles isn't something most people want to learn about. I just realized I had so many, maybe I should learn about them. It was kind of an interesting topic for me. It might be boring for others. But I just through research and reflection, honestly, of my own struggles, I had discovered that there were 3 universal struggles. And we all know universal means it doesn't matter what you look like, what you drive, what car you drive, what your bank account's at, none of that matters. Everybody will experience struggles from these 3 categories. And so because I like to call them what I want to call things, right? I made the formula. I call the first one self. And that just means self-inflicted pain by one's own choices.
Yeah.
That tends to sting some people, right? But I'm the first one to say, hey, I was making not some good choices. I was not on a good path when I was diagnosed with cancer. That was a slap in the face. That was an eye opener. That was something that really, pivoted. I pivoted what course I was on because of it. So we just have to be able to, put pride and ego aside and say, what actions, what choices did I make here? That I brought this upon myself, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first one. The second one I just call others, meaning pain inflicted on us through the actions of others. That's real, right? That is so real. There are things that a drunk driver can get behind a car and kill a loved one. They caused us pain, right? They did. So that is a real thing, but I have noticed that oftentimes people want to put their struggles there. It's always them. And my mama didn't teach me, and it's her fault. Well, you're 50 years old. It's not your mama's responsibility to teach you anything anymore, right? So I'm just like, well, first of all, it's a real thing. People can bring us pain. That is real. We're not going to negate that. But we can't put all our struggles there, because if we think we can and we should, really the question is, why are you hanging out with people who cause you so much pain?
Exactly.
And that is your choice, right? That's your choice. You're choosing that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with this one, though, I have found that oftentimes there's a few things I need to do if it's somebody else causing drama or pain or inflicting stuff upon me. And one, I just need to sit down and say, hey, this is not cool. We need to have a conversation, and we need to set some boundaries, right? Because this is just not going to happen if you want to be a part of my life. I do it, and I still do it to this day with people. And the other one is sometimes people just need to be loved from afar. Some of us have family members that they only do jabs, right? They only pull you down. They're not happy for you. They're toxic. I'll see you once or twice a year. I love you, but I can't have your energy around me that much. It brings me down. So sometimes and it can be hard at first, but we're worth it, right? We're worth it. Like, we can't be around that. So the third one I call life, meaning pain inflicted on us at no one's fault, like my cancer.
Right.
I didn't cause that. For all you Christians, it wasn't anything that I did. God wasn't punishing me. That is not real.
No.
It doesn't exist. My mama didn't give it to me, so nobody caused that. And I am from Houston, Texas, Hurricane Harvey, right? That's a life struggle. That you can't blame anybody for that. And so I realized that there were 3 categories when I really did some reflecting and research of struggles, that it does not matter who you are. You're going to have struggles in each category. Now, that first category, right? Self, we can control that. And so we want to really just be able to reflect and think, did I bring this upon myself? But if so, what can I do differently moving forward?
Yeah.
Because we can't prevent struggle, right? There's just some struggles we cannot prevent. But those ones, the hamster wheel, you ever been there? I've been there. I'm like, why does this struggle keep coming up? It keeps coming up.
Yes.
Girl, you haven't learned what you need to learn. And when you learn what you need to learn, it'll go away, right?
Yeah.
It is. And so those are the 3 universal struggles that I share in my book. And it's important to be able to identify each one, or what one we're dealing with, because I do truly believe that depending on which one we're dealing with, we're going to approach it differently, right?
Yeah.
So it requires a different approach.
For sure. Well, I have not got my hands on the book yet. I'm so glad that Robbie has, so that she can speak more to it. But out of all of those things, the struggles, the universal struggles, what's like one piece of advice that you could give our busy moms out there who feel like they're in the depths of one of those struggles, or all 3?
So I have reminders. I don't know where you guys are on time. I have 7 reminders that I share. Do we have? Yeah, we have time for. Okay. So the 7 reminders, I call them reminders because they are, you have to take action to do them. But when we're struggling, the first thing I do, remember it. Remember these things, and then we can take the action. So I just call them the 7 reminders. And it's 1, you are not meant to go through this alone. Who are you leaning on right now that is helping you get through it? Oftentimes when we're struggling, we isolate ourselves.
Yes.
We feel shame. We feel embarrassment. Nobody will understand. Those are lies. Those are all lies. It's not even real. I have learned, first of all, can we just put this out there? Do not get on social media and plaster your dirty laundry all over, whining and complaining. That's not cute. It's not attractive, okay? That is not how we do it. I promise I have even a formula on how to talk about the hard things on social media where it's adding value and uplifting, but that's not what we want to do, right? So I tell people, go to a trusted source. Mm-hmm. That could be a spouse, that could be a best friend, that could be a therapist, a church leader, anybody you trust that you know really loves you, that maybe gives good advice.
Right.
Go to them. They want to help us. And I always tell people, don't ever go to somebody for advice who is not living the life you want to be living. In marriage, finances, whatever. Don't go to them. So we really have to open up, right? Get over your damn self, right? And open up, because people love us and they want to help us. That's number 1. Number 2, do something right now that will lift your spirit. Of course, when I still have struggles. I had one back in April that was a pretty big struggle. And what is it we want to do when we're really struggling? We just want to lay in bed all day and say, screw the world. We just say, well, screw the world, right? But I get it. You know, I'm human. Just because I'm teaching this does not mean I'm a master. I'm first and foremost a teacher, or not a teacher, sorry, a student of all of these teachings. I don't even, do it perfectly. But the things that we can do to uplift our spirit, like we don't have to, go and book a trip to Hawaii, right? We're talking small daily things that we can do. So for me, it is, I like to make my bed. It's just, there's something about a bed that is made that just, I don't know, it just sets my day up. Exercise is for everybody. There is no excuse. Now, the type of exercise is different, right? The type of exercise is tailored to the person, but everybody can do something. So move the body, elevate the heart rate at least 30 minutes, break a little sweat. I like to listen to a radio station called KSBJ. It's modern Christian music. It doesn't put you to sleep. It's not boring. It's got some heavy beats. I mean, one time my husband gets in the car, because I blare my music when I'm driving. My husband gets in the car and he's like, what are you listening to? Because it sounded like rap. And I'm like, buddy boy, do not judge my music. This is my good Christian music, okay? Because I like upbeat stuff. I also like country music. I love the stories, right? So you don't have to like that. It's whatever works for you. Books. I have been a reader for, I don't know if you can see, I've got a little bookshelf. Y'all, this is so confusing.
Yeah, I see it.
Well, I'm pointing this anyway. It can flip.
Yeah. There we go.
There you go. I have read all those books in 5 years. I will not read a book that does not add value to me or uplift me in any way. So for me, books are my therapy. Podcast, right? Anything that will add value to uplift you. I mean, those are the things that, little things, right? Just to start to feel better, to lift our spirits. And then number 3, this is for you, not against you if you choose. So lean in and search for the lesson it has to offer. That's what I believe, right? That's like a belief system, that a mindset we have to adopt. Struggles are not the enemy. They are there to help us grow, help us learn, to teach us things. And we just have to lean in. I don't need to tell you ladies what you need to learn. You don't need to tell me what I need to learn. I truly believe that deep down inside each and every one of us, we know what we need to work on, right? Nobody needs to tell us, right? We know what we need to work on. So just lean into it and find the lessons that the struggle has to offer. Number 4, this will make you stronger. Put that on repeat like you do Kane Brown or Brene Brown, whatever one you like. I love you, Kane Brown. Love his music.
I love him.
Yes. And so I'm a believer that whatever record we are playing up here, that's a choice. We choose the record. And so instead of woe is me, why me? Hey, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know that if I use my struggle, if I work my struggle instead of being used by it, instead of allowing it to work me, I'll get stronger. And sometimes when I'm struggling, that's the only thing I can hold on to is this will make me stronger eventually. I don't know how. Those bigger struggles, we're in such a fog that, hey, don't worry about trying to learn. Just like my cancer, let me just get through it and then do some reflecting on what I was supposed to learn, But, those smaller ones, like maybe I should have kept my mouth shut and not said that. Let's learn this right away. You know what I mean? And so just put that on repeat. Adopt that belief. Number 5, remember that one time you got through, you got this. So this goes back to the universal or the ultimate struggle that I share, which is mine. I opened my book with my ultimate struggle. In my book, I talk about how everybody needs to be able to identify. You can even write it in the book. I'm like, identify your ultimate struggle right below,
Yes.
Because when we know what our ultimate struggle is, for me, it was cancer and everything I went through. When I have other struggles, I'm like, oh yeah, I got this.
Yeah.
You went through that. That is proof to me that I can do this, right? It is proof that I can do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm not saying relive it or, anything, but just always remember, hey, I'm strong. And number 6, focus on a solution to the struggle. Oftentimes, I've been guilty of it myself, and I have seen it happen, especially in January. When we focus on the struggle itself, it gets way bigger. So much bigger. Whatever we focus on just grows, right? But I'm not saying ignore it. Like acknowledge I'm struggling and this is a struggle that it is. But instead of putting the focus there, focus on a solution. I'm struggling, but how are we going to make this better? What am I going to learn or whatever? Focus on the solution to that struggle. And then number 7, which is one of my favorites, is use what you went through to help somebody get through. Now, no, when you're struggling or when you're right in the middle of it, you don't need to worry about, just try and get through it, right? But once you kind of have learned from it and grown from it and stuff, that is the time to turn around and help others as you see fit. So those are kind of the reminders that when I'm struggling, and I'll just tell you really quickly without going too much into detail. In January, I had another cancer scare. I had an ovarian tumor, and they had to remove my whole ovary and stuff. So it was just surgery, thank goodness. But because of everything I've already shared with you, and I understand the reality, I'm not 18 anymore. I understand the reality of cancer and what that could have done to me, and where I'm at. I was just so mad. I was angry. I wanted to get on the floor and throw a fit. I was just, I went there. And I went there, ladies, as I was writing my book. As I'm writing my book, which this story is the last chapter in the book, I am having my own struggle.
Yeah.
And I'm real about it and I'm raw about it. And I'm like, just because I have this knowledge and this understanding, I'm not perfect. I am not a robot, but I do have the knowledge, which allows me to be able. So finally, I realized, hey, you're not using your formula. Use your formula. So I did, and I snapped out of it, and everything was fine. And so those are the reminders. And really what my book is about is the simple, everything I've talked about, just very simple formula, just says struggle plus reflection. That's where the lesson comes, right? And when we apply the lesson, when we apply the lesson, you got to apply it to our lives. That just means we're growing. And growth just means we're progressing. And for me and everybody I know, progress just means happiness. I don't chase perfection. That brings misery. But as long as I can be progressing in life and with my struggle, I'm happy about it. And so I tell people, so if you work your struggle, if you use this formula to help you, your struggles can actually equal happiness if you allow it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's all what we allow and how we allow it. Wow. What a story, Tracey. Oh my goodness. Talking about an overcomer.
Yeah.
My goodness. And just the way that then you are able to pass it on and help somebody else. And so many, because what you've shared relates to so many different scenarios. We can use it in all aspects of life, even parenting, this distance learning, everything. Yeah. Definitely can use all the tools. And so we are so thankful that you even came on and shared all of this with us. I do want to say in the comments, everybody is just saying so powerful. They're so proud of you. They're so glad that you are cancer free right now. And not only that, I want to even just talk about you as far as past, paying it forward. Tracey is also on TikTok, y'all. And she right now, I'm going to put up so people can even see your TikTok name. It is Tracey Ferrin. But she has done these Venmo challenges for people that have brightened her day. And y'all, how much did you end up raising for the worker at Wendy's? She went through a drive-through at Wendy's. And
I did see that.
And how much were you able to give him?
We raised a little over 40 grand.
40 grand for Eric at Wendy's. Like, I saw the whole story. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. So Tracey, I mean, yes, you were definitely meant to overcome this, because look at what you were able to do to so many other people. Like, you're such a blessing to even be here today, and to so many others. And she does have another Venmo challenge going on right now.
A man. So his name is Rodney. And I'll post about this story later. I'll do an article on it, but it just gives me chills how I got involved. But he needs a new heart. And I went live and asked my friends over there, said, hey, could we do this again? Could we save a life? And everybody was like, yeah, let's do it for Rodney, before I even mentioned who it was. And I was like, okay, we're doing it. And so we have raised quite a bit. We haven't added it all up, but we just started this last night. And I know we have raised probably over 20 grand already.
That's amazing. So you're able to bless now because of your platform and getting out there, and the fact that you are paying it forward. What a blessing to so many. And I did put it at the bottom. If people are looking for you on TikTok and want to see those stories, definitely go follow her, and she's fun to watch too. She's got some good fashion tips too.
Yeah.
So we saw them earlier.
Yeah.
Well, we do have our favorite part of the show. If you have time, it's our Mama Madness. Dun, 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 dun.
So this is where we like to come on and just have you be real, but you've pretty much done all that. So you're in the secrets in Tracey's life, right? But we'll just ask you some quick, fun questions and just get to know Tracey a little bit better. So if you're ready, I've got them for you. Okay, the first is a two-part question.
Okay.
Do you talk in your sleep? And if not, what would you want to be saying when you're talking in your sleep?
Okay, I do not talk in my sleep, but my husband does.
Mine does too.
And I don't know what he says, because it's blah, 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 is what it sounds like to me. I don't know. I think if I talked in my sleep, I would just honestly want to say good things, right? Like, I'm all about, I'm very sensitive to people's energy. I'm very sensitive to even the words I use, because they have so much meaning. And so it's just important to me that if I'm going to use the words, right, there's 26 letters in the alphabet. Am I correct? Maybe off.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure that the words that I'm creating with those letters are good, right? The energy's good, positive, and uplifting.
Yeah.
And real, because we got to be real. I don't mind giving you the little kick in the butt to be real.
For some reason, my husband, when he talks in sleep, it's always like a football. Like, he'll be like, 47, blue. And I'm it startles me, but I'm like, what is going on? You're not even a coach. But
my husband just sits up. He does this, he sits up really quick, and I'm like, oh, we're doing that again. And I roll over, and I'm like, if I ignore him, he'll go right back to bed. And sometimes I do just pat him on the chest. I'm like, go to bed. You're fine. And it takes him a minute.
Yeah.
I deal with that.
That's hilarious.
All right. The next one is, what's the worst place you could get stuck?
Oh my gosh. In an elevator?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With my husband?
Yes.
Where are you going?
Want to turn that into a rated R movie? Probably the worst.
I would have to agree with that one too.
A well was the first thing that came to my head, getting stuck down in a well.
Oh, Robbie, yeah.
I guess I saw a movie.
Okay, what is your dream job? If you had a dream job.
Oh.
What I'm doing.
Yep.
Speaking, writing on social media. This is it.
Have you always been a writer?
No, I have no formal training. I learned how to write, honestly, through social media. I started just about 7 years ago. I had this again on my heart that I needed to be present on social media. I didn't know why. Obviously, we're 7 years, 8 years later, we're starting to find out why.
Yeah.
But so nothing happens overnight. Let's just get that straight. I've been working at this, and there are times I had two likes on my post and no comments, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from. But I just had it on my heart. You need to get on social media, and I've done it. And there were times years ago that I'm like, why, right? But then you start to see why, and people started sending messages like, thank you for being real. Thank you for sharing that. So through just being present on social media and typing out, I get teased for my long posts, but it's from the heart, and I'm like, whatever, you don't have to read it. But just through really on social media, really it's just Facebook, just typing out my posts, I learned really what connected. I learned to move from a lot of people, and I can tell when we're doing it, a lot of people just kind of come from the mind, right? We're always in the mind. But, and I started off that way. But when we write and speak from the heart, that's what's moving. And so for me, I had to learn to get out of my head and really just speak from the heart. Yeah. And if there's errors, if I spelled a word wrong or something, nobody cares because they know it came from the heart and not the head. That's just something I had to practice.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well, what's something that you are the most afraid of?
Ooh.
Could be that elevator again.
Or the well.
You know, I don't have any okay, so my husband, I would say huge fears, but maybe I do. I think my biggest fear would be either, ladies, it would probably either be my husband dying or one of my children dying. That's probably
Yeah,
I don't know.
You know.
I can't even go in my head.
Right.
That would probably be it.
Well, let's end this on a good note. On a scale of 1 to 10, how cool are you?
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Yes.
Yo, I'm just a dork, honestly. Like,
I think
I have not.
10,
So let me just be honest. People think I did a podcast with some ladies, and one of them was like, well, I wasn't really sure what you'd be like, if you'd be stuffy, if you'd be this. I'm like, y'all, all of these titles attached or all these things that I'm doing has not changed who I am. I am still me. I promise it's not going to my head. I just love people. I just like helping. I just like, you know what I mean? Helping people with struggle. So I'm still just me. I haven't changed at all.
And that's the key. Don't ever. Because you're definitely blessing others in the process. So stay Tracey.
Thank you. I will.
Well, we love you already. And it's only been
Tracey.
an hour with you. I'm like, can I call you later?
I'm like, can I just meet with you like once a month?
Love it. It's been fun.
We definitely appreciate you being on. And once again, I do want to show everybody, definitely check Tracey out. Check out her book as well. It is available now. Remember, Up Struggle. You won't find that word in the dictionary, but you can find it from Tracey and learn about everything that it means. But it is about embracing the struggle and becoming stronger and living happier through that struggle. And like we said, again, helping others. So we definitely appreciate you, Tracey, so much for being on.
Rob, thank you.
Brent, come back, Robbie. There you go.
Everybody. Yes, thank you, Tracey. And we will definitely keep in touch.
Yes, thank you.
Hurricane.
Huh?
I'm so glad that y'all are safe from the hurricane, that didn't get added to your list of struggles.
And you know what? It would have been a life struggle. We would have dealt with it.
There you go. There you go.
I have no doubt.
That's the category. Thank you, Tracey.
All right, Tracey, thanks.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Wow.
Like, I'm rarely speechless. And at the end, I was kind of like, I don't know what to say about all this. This is a lot.
Amazing. She is amazing.
Yeah, and it's funny you wore your overcomer necklace because that, like, I was just sitting there thinking, I was like, Robbie, send her that necklace. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh, this is from Brian Anthony, y'all. I don't know if you can see it. It's this little rainbow, and it's called the Overcomer necklace. It's Brian Anthony. And it's just a tiny little rainbow. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it.
So, and it just talks about being an overcomer, getting through the storm and getting that rainbow. And oh my goodness, hello.
Yeah. Pretty amazing story. And the thing is she's not the only one out there. So like we all know somebody. And so the fact that she's, educating others and helping others is just an amazing story. And it just makes my day-to-day struggles seem,
I know.
Whatever.
But a reminder too that everything we go through does give us that testimony to share with others and help people through that next step when they need it. When it's time for us to share, that's the key too, because if we share at the wrong time, we're still stuck in the struggle and can come across negative instead of able to tell about the rainbow overcoming part.
That's right. Well, she was a cool guest. So glad she came on.
Well, no, I know we went long for all of our viewers. I know we went long, but I saw your comments. We appreciate y'all tuning in. If you couldn't watch the whole episode, definitely come back and finish it later. Mm-hmm. I mean, wow, what a story from Tracey. That was a great, just lift up encouragement, especially even during this time of so much of the unknowns.
Yeah,
and so,
for sure.
Awesome. And definitely check out her book.
Yes, I plan to. So, Robbie, what you got planned the rest of the day? You still teaching over there?
I'm over here teaching, girl. I'm going to go tackle some more second grade here in just a minute.
Oh, well, you have a great day. Well, hey, what you got on today?
I have on like this black striped. Can you see it?
Not really.
It's kind of got this stripe. It's a sleeve tee, but it's thin.
Mm-hmm. That's cute.
Both of them all so cute. And then I just have on a pink Havana top underneath for some color. I know. So
colorful. You're the colors of the rainbow today.
Basically, overcomer, Ricci. Overcomer. What do you have on? I love your sweater.
Oh, well, I've got to go out and do some errands, so I dress myself up a little bit. But I do have on my leggings. No, don't worry. These are these little. They're like butter leggings.
Yeah,
they're so amazing. Mm-hmm. So
awesome. Well, you definitely have a good rest of the day. And next week, I wanted to tell everybody we're going to have
interesting.
Yes, we're going to try to have a fashion show. We're going to see how it pulls off. We're going to try to have a virtual fashion show here on the Ricci and Robbie show. So we are excited. So we hope to see y'all next week. We will be back on the normal time.
Yes.
And that is 11 a.m. Central. So definitely tune in if you can. As always, y'all live your best life in leggings.
With a little liquor too, but not too much.
Exactly.
All right, girl.
See y'all later. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.